nice to see
That we
you.
did, and I will tell you that Fair Vote and you, Ellen, Jeannie, and had a big impact on me in terms of influencing my interest and ultimately my support of ranked choice voting. But the person who first talked to me and really compelled me to consider it was a then student at Mounds Park Academy by the name of Libby Cantner. Libby is now a law student. She was a council aide here for many years. And I think Libby presented it to me as a high school student and made it clear to me that anything that a high school student could get that excited about in terms of making elections work in a much more positive and constructive way was something that I should pay attention to. In terms of my election this year, I kind of have to go back to my election in 2015, also a ranked choice election. But in 2015, the DFL process, in which there were 5 candidates running for DFL endorsement, was the whole DFL process ended by the end of February. And then I got the DFL endorsement. I expected that a couple of those candidates might end up deciding to get into the general election. They did not do that, and so I ran unopposed for my first election in 2015, which, while at the time it was, wow, my life is really simple. I mean, I continued to door knock and everything because I was well aware that that I had to campaign because otherwise people would not even know that they had a new city council person. But I will say that I was well aware that this is not the way anybody should get into office, especially for a first election. And so when I ran this time, the DFL process was extended this time. The endorsement, I won the endorsement in May, and I went forward, but there were 3 candidates who got into the race in the coming months, so that by the end of filings, I had 3 opponents. And I think the single best thing about that was that Ward 7, which is part of a big part of the East Side, has notoriously low turnout in every election, but especially in odd year elections. The turnout was tripled over 2015. And that's what we all want to see, and it's critically important going into a presidential election year next year. So I can't say enough good about ranked choice voting and what it meant to my community to be able to have choices in the election, to have people decide to come forward later in the year and much closer to the election day was also meaningful. And as Amy said, the ability to have real forums, where several candidates were at the mics and talking to the voters was really meaningful, and a couple of those were televised. So it was a great process.
Great, thank you, Jane.